CWPA Remote.
Hi, I'm Ed Hawes, Director of Communications for the Collegiate Water Polo Association, and this is the CWPA Remote. With me today is folks from the University of California, Irvine. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Yeah, my name is Nick Cecchi. I'm the head coach of both the men's and women's club programs at UC Irvine.
I'm Gianna. I'm a graduate student and a player at UC Irvine.
All right. Let's start with the first question. How'd you both get involved in the game of water polo?
I'll let you go ahead and go first, Gianna.
I grew up in Malibu, and I started as a youth player in the U10 division, and I was 10 years old.
Yeah, I was actually a sophomore in high school, and quite honestly, all my friends chose water polo freshman year, and I just jumped on the bandwagon late, but haven't turned back since then.
All right. Kind of brings us to UC Irvine. Since one of you is the coach and one of you played there, what makes the school attractive to a potential student athlete? And then talk a little bit about the water polo program in Irvine.
Go ahead, Gianna.
Okay. Well, I can say for myself, when I was choosing which grad school to go to, it's a little bit embarrassing, but one of the first things that I wanted to see was the pool. And I came on my revisit day and went to the gym, and just upon arriving, there was the team captain, and it wasn't even a practice time. They were just in the pool passing around, and I was able to talk to them, and I think that was one of the reasons that I chose to come here, is that there were people around that were playing water polo, and I was definitely not disappointed. We had a really incredible, strong team. It's always been a small but really close-knit and really talented group at UC Irvine, and I've really loved that about the program. Playing in Southern California is such a pleasure. I had a different experience in college playing on the East Coast, and it was really refreshing to come back to the exceptional level of play that we have here in Southern California. And so I think both programs have grown during the time that I've been here at UC Irvine, 6 years, and developed a really strong, stable membership. And I think UC Irvine should be a top contender for anybody who's interested in playing club water polo in college.
Nick?
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything Gianna said. I came to UC Irvine for undergrad, actually, and I was one of the founding members of the men's club team here. But I really chose UC Irvine just because it was a great Southern California location. I had grown up in Southern California for really most of my childhood, and just wanted to stay in the area, and just had no regrets. Even though when I joined, there wasn't a club team. Me and a couple of guys that were interested in starting a club team there, it was a little bit of work, but the CWPA just made it really, really easy for us, and made it, something that wasn't like totally impossible to start a club, and not just start a club from scratch, but also to build it up to be more than just a couple of guys hopping in the pool a couple nights a week. Since the time it started, now we're, a fairly decent contender in our division. And we've got a group of guys that's grown from, that founding group of 4 or 5 to now over 20 members. So really it's a great time to join at UC Irvine. We're definitely at the peak of both men's and women's clubs, I'd say.
All right. I mean, obviously you're competing in very difficult divisions for both the men and the women. Who have been your biggest rivals over the course of Irvine's time as a club team, and then where do you see the program going in the next couple of years?
I'll go ahead and take the men for that question, and Gianna, you can take the women. For the men, there's really 2 main powerhouses in our division, San Diego State and UC San Diego, and they've just been able to build such fantastic programs that have gone on to win national championships, and if not winning the national championship, ranking really high in that tournament. As far as our biggest rivals, You know, I'd say we get along well with all the other teams, but the closest games, the ones where we really find ourselves fighting, you know, in 1-goal wins or 1-goal losses, would be University of Arizona and Arizona State. We're at a good level of play with them for sure.
I'll say for the women, it's similar. I mean, when I first joined at UC Irvine 6 years ago, SDSU was an absolute powerhouse. And we managed to come in second to them my first year, and then second again 2 years later. However, since then, over the course of the years, UCSD has developed a really, really strong program. And now UCSD and SDSU have been really dominating the league. I think this year we had a really strong group of freshmen, and we were hoping to compete with those two teams. ASU also looked really, really strong this year. In the first tournament, we didn't have the chance to play them, unfortunately, because of the coronavirus shutdown, which is really unfortunate. And so I think there's some unanswered questions about what could have been possible this year. But I'd say definitely we always were eager to compete with the San Diego teams.
All right. Looking back on your careers as players, and what would you say would one piece of advice you would give to someone that you didn't know then that you know now that you wish you had known then?
Yeah, I mean, I think a piece of advice that I'd give for anyone looking to join club water polo is, you know, don't be afraid of where you're at skill level wise. You know, club water polo is just such a broad range of skill levels, even within a division like the Southwest Conference, where, you know, we're a pretty competitive division. We can field A teams, B teams. You know, we've got guys who are joining our team who are former Division I players and people who are just kind of learning how to, you know, swim and play water polo competitively. Mm-hmm. So really, I think the biggest piece of advice I'd give is, you know, don't look at the club water polo table at the, you know, welcome fair and say, you know, I haven't played, you know, in a while, or, oh, I wasn't a starter on varsity all 4 years in high school. You know, even if, you know, you were a decent player in high school, or you're the best player, or you've never played, club water polo is a great place to just get exposure to the sport.
Definitely, I would echo some of that. I think I've learned two things over my years that I definitely didn't know starting college. So one would be that players can come from any background and become great water polo players. I think coming from Malibu, a place where water polo is really, really popular and people are quite talented, I kind of thought that there was that you kind of had to start young to be really good. And I think in college, in the CWPA and at the club level, I've learned that that's absolutely not true. You can start out being a complete novice and become the team's starting goalie, or, you know, a starter of any kind. And it's inspiring to watch. And especially as I've become like more of a veteran, like old player, it's been really, really great watching people learn and grow to love the sport, even if they're just starting in college. And so that's something I really love about Collegiate Club Water Polo, is that it's a place for people of all skill levels. Absolutely. And then I think the other thing that I would tell my younger self, and maybe this is more of a personal thing, but I think that something that I've learned about club water polo is that it's a really small community, and it's so great to make friends and maintain those relationships. And I think that when I was younger, I was a lot more competitive and not as concerned with making friends with people on the other teams. So just an anecdote that I can give is when I was in college, there was a goalie on a rival team, and we kind of had like a tense thing, and she ended up being our goalie here at UC Irvine for many years. Wow. So we ended up playing together both as graduate students, and so just I think the small community-ness of it really makes sportsmanship an absolute imperative.
All right. Well, thank you both for doing this. I know it took some time out of your day, but I appreciate it, and I know the league membership appreciates it too.
Absolutely, our pleasure.
Our pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.